yesterday we went and bought all of this. That cost $2,000. Today we're gonna be shipping it all off to Amazon and listing the rest on eBay. See how much we were potentially able to make off of that $2,000, as well as just to give you guys an idea of what it takes to actually send a shipment into Amazon. But keep in mind, what I do is what I do, and it definitely might not be the best thing to do, but let me give you some tips and tricks that I've learned over my past 6 months being a full-time reseller. First step, obviously, is to be a hero and try to bring way more than you should be able to inside. The next step for my workflow is to organize all of it by store. I don't really have a lot of space to do that. I either do it on that table or that couch, just depends on where that lovely woman is working. Now the reason that I organize it by store is because I like to see how much I make per store. Honestly, more is kind of like a vanity metric because I just go to all of them anyways because I have that route like I talked about in my last video. I honestly probably don't even need to do that. But the other thing that it really helps, I like to organize things by receipts so that I can make sure that I was charged correctly for things, and especially things like Walmart and Academy where they don't have the price tags on the stuff. I want to be able to make sure that I'm matching all the prices so that I know how much my buy cost is and I can accurately estimate my profit. And we are on a little bit of a time crunch because I have to go meet my friend at the gym at 2 o'clock. It's just past 11 now, so we'll see if I'm actually able to even get one of those workflows done. I'd like to do Amazon first because that has a time that it needs to get done, which is 7 o'clock when the UPS store closes. We have everything organized now. Marshall's here, and it's mostly eBay stuff. If you need soccer cleats, hit up my eBay store. TJ Maxx, as well as Marshall's stuff, all the Burlington stuff. All this is going to eBay. This is going to Amazon. Walmart stuff is here. Academy on the table here. Ross over here, and then bunch of Ross eBay stuff over there. The next step is actually to use my phone. The exact same app that I use while sourcing is what we're gonna actually use to categorize all these things. It's called Scoutify 2. I'll leave a link to InventoryLab, which is the program that you get it with. It is $49 a month for getting into Amazon FBA. You might want to do that. Definitely look over it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. One other thing too is that I have bought some stuff from Academy and from Walmart that's the exact same thing. And the reason that I have them separated is so that I can do my accounting correctly. Luckily, this will do all the Amazon accounting for me. Pretty much, I do have to throw it in a spreadsheet because I'm a little bit of a nerd, but then I will have to do all of it separate for eBay. We're just gonna take these are Skull Candy headphones. I recently got ungated in them. So if we press this button right here, just gonna open this up to show it. I show it the UPC. List price is $11.50. I bought it for $4 and it will return me $7.12. But as you can see, there's a bunch of different prices here. I like to sell things at the lower price. That way I just am able to sell it fast and get money back to put into more inventory. But I could also just wait until these people sell out and then sell it for a $14 or $15 price point. Normally you'd be able to do that, especially with high volume items that sell a lot. So you'll go to add. No active buy list right now. I'll do raw and I do 1. That's just because this is the first shipment in April. And then I go to cost per unit, $3.99. I have one of them. I'm gonna say it. It's $11.50. Doesn't matter the purchase date. Does matter to me the supplier though. That way, as I put it into the system, it'll be correct. And so as you can see, it shows the item cost is $4.25, even though I put in $3.99. And that's just because it automatically calculates the sales tax for me. But it's in new condition from Ross, 6.5% tax rate. And there are different tax rates between a couple of different areas that I source. I just keep it at 6.5% because it's close enough. So as you can see, it says total item cost $4.25, and then if I was to just export this, I would send it into InventoryLab, but I'll show you that after I get through all of this crap. The other thing that this really helps is putting in these boxes is that later when I print out all the labels, as you'll see, it's gonna be really easy to find exactly where everything is. Okay, so this is all the raw stuff for today. So this is what you do after you finish one of these buy lists. That way I never have more than one buy list active at any time. So we'll send that to my email. If you want to reach out to me about any questions about reselling or anything like that, that's my email, bodanza@gmail.com. The next thing that you do is just hit this little folder to archive it, and now I don't have any active buy lists, which is great because you'll have to choose between them if I started scanning all that Academy stuff. So now we just make an Academy one. One thing that I really wish they had as a feature is when I create a buy list, I just want that X mark. You know that X mark that's really annoying on everything else? I really want that right here, and all I have to do is go to Academy 1. One thing I just realized, which I do all the time, is I just added all of these to my buy list, but if you go into that, it defaults to the last supplier that you put, so it still says Ross there. So I just change that to Academy. And then the other thing is because Academy doesn't have all the price tags on it like the Ross stuff does, I take the receipts, and what I'll do is I'll go down and I'll mark off everything as I write it down. That way I can make sure that I was charged the right amount, and that way I can make sure I put the right price, because some stuff is similar but it's just like a couple cents off, and I want to make sure I get as accurate of a pricing as possible. Also, that trick that I just showed you about changing it from Ross to Academy, if you don't do it when you're actually in the thing, it still just defaults to Ross. Hey, Editor Anthony here, and I realized that what I just said might not make a ton of sense. What I meant was that if you go and edit the item, it doesn't change the default to the new store. So as you're adding another product that you haven't added yet, you have to change the store there, and then the next one will default to the correct one. Hope that makes sense. Drop a like if it does. All right, so this is the same thing that I already did for Academy, but now we're on to Walmart. Literally the exact same thing, it's just a little bit different pricing. And so as you can see with this one, there's no listings available right now. I have sold this before, so I know how much it normally sells for, but you can also do some research, especially on this app. If you go to research here, and then camel, it'll pull up a website that'll show you prices. You can go with that, you can go with something else if you want, test around with what you think you'd be able to get. I just wouldn't assume that you can get more than that number. But if it happens, that's great. Now that it's actually all already in the buy list, I don't really have to keep everything separate anymore, so I kind of smush everything together to save space. All right, just a little bit more to go. Okay, so these photo cases as well are a little bit of an interesting situation. So I'm gonna scan it real quick. So as you can see, I would be getting back $36.20 on a $10 purchase, but the problem is if I go to restrictions, I can't sell it new, but I can sell it used like new. Go to add, instead of new, we just click that, used like new, 5 of them. Instead of $43.14, I'm just gonna put $37.50. If they don't sell for that, that's okay, but hopefully they do. Super important though, is you also have to change this back to new on the next item that you scan. Otherwise it'll list it as used like new. Okay, everything is listed now. So the next step is actually to head over to the computer. We're gonna worry about all this eBay crap later, but we go over to this computer now, and all of the buy lists will end up being imported directly into here. So I'm just gonna head into InventoryLab real quick, open that up, and also open up my Gmail account, because that's where all these buy lists were sent. I have it all go to a specific InventoryLab's buy lists label over here, so I don't have to worry about finding it in my inbox. Here, I'm just gonna download all of them. Ross, Academy. Next, we're just gonna pop over into InventoryLab. So we're gonna go from here to list and prep. We're gonna click new batch. I'm gonna say the batch name. I'm gonna put April 1 true. And I'm gonna select a file. And you can only select one file to do this at a time. Downloads. We have all of these here sorted by today. I'm just gonna start with Academy just because that's the first one that's there. All of these preferences you can kind of set yourself. Ship from this address that I'm gonna blur out for you so you can't see it. I can also ship from a different address. And then I have it through FBA, which means that Amazon's gonna fulfill everything because I don't wanna do that mess. Labeling preference, I will label all of my items. There's a couple different options here. I will label all my items. FBA should label my items, which I wouldn't recommend unless you're only selling high in dollar amounts, like $100 or more, because it costs like 50 cents per item to label. And labels are like 0.6 cents. Provide box content is on. This means that once we get to knowing what our shipments are, we'll be able to tell them which boxes we're putting everything in. Minimum max preferences, don't have them capture that because I don't have that in my buy list. I can set that through my repricer. Shipping method is SPD or LTL. SPD is everything that you don't need to put on like a pallet and ship it in a truck. LTL would be like you put it on a pallet and a truck comes to you. SPD is you're going to the UPS store like most of us are going to be doing. Process the buy list here. Select the corresponding columns from your document. All of this is the same because we use the same program that InventoryLab owns. If you create your own spreadsheet and want to import it, you can do that. So here you'll see we have a bunch of issues, and all of this is because we already have a lot of these items in my inventory and I'm just replenishing them. Down here, bulk replenishment options, replenish all. That's the best way to do it. What I used to do was be dumb and hit replenish. Okay, replenish, and replenish. And then I realized, oh, I can just do all of that down here. No more issues because we did that bulk replenishment. Now we're gonna go to Amazon validation. This is where Amazon is gonna decide whether or not you can actually send this stuff to them. If you have checked on the Amazon app, or if you've used that restrictions part like I showed you with that new, used like new kind of thing, you shouldn't have any problems here. So if you look here, I have an issue. Great. But issues is something I can actually fix. And this is just missing dimensions. And so all I gotta do is add dimensions for this item. We'll just find that item real quick, right here. You can guesstimate on this, but I really don't recommend it. You wanna be as precise as you possibly can with pretty much everything that you're doing. It's a big platform. They don't have a lack of sellers. If you wanna continue selling on their platform, obey the rules. 0.15 ounces. I'm just gonna put 0.2 or 2 ounces. And then I need to measure it real quick with my great measuring tape here. 7.5, 5. 0 pounds, 2 ounces, 7.5 by 5. By 0.5. Then we'll send it. It'll send the dimensions to Amazon. You're just gonna have to make sure that Amazon actually accepts the dimension. Now we're just gonna create the batch. So as you can see, this is gonna be at the top of your thing. You can just check the status, see if they've done it. Not yet been accepted by Amazon. So now to add the next thing to the batch, you go up to these little 3 lines here and you hit import buy list. Select file, and now we're gonna do the exact same thing for the rest of these lists. So it looks like you got a couple of different problems here. So for one of these items, there's missing dimensions, so we're gonna have to do that same thing we just did with that fishing bait. For this one, it's because I have some stranded inventory at Amazon. We're on my Amazon account, and down here at stranded inventory, we have 3 of these. Please review for quality issues. It doesn't say that it has a high pricing error, so that actually means that I'm probably gonna have to reach out to seller help to get my listing reactivated, which has been happening more and more often over these past couple of weeks. I just have to reach out to them and say, hey, what's going on with my listing? And they'll be able to reactivate it for me. That just means I'm gonna have to add this to the batch later and potentially not even send it this time because seller help normally takes 1 to 2 days. So as I'm adding some stuff from TJ Maxx, also bought one of these at a Ross, but I just have to click merge duplicates, and that's because there's more than one on different buy lists. For whatever reason, this one happens to be because I bought it at 2 different stores, and there's another one which I'm going to show you right now. This is the one that I showed you earlier, and I just am merging this one because there's 2 different prices and it's from 2 different stores. And then what happens is when you merge the duplicates, it automatically shoots out a label for you. And this is pretty much if you had a label printer, which I don't. I just have a normal laser printer that I put 30 up label strips on. What we can see, which is great, is that the potential net profit right now is $1992.53. This is going to have to be adjusted a little bit because the taxes are a little bit off, but it's also going to have to be adjusted up a little bit because those 2 headphones that I'm going to have to send in the next shipment. Pretty much right at that $2,000 number here, plus all of that stuff for eBay. Let's check the status real quick on both of these, see if Amazon is updated yet. Nope. Nope. So we're gonna have to wait a quick second. Hopefully the inventory will become unstranded and this will be good. Actually, we don't even have to wait. I can just start taking the labels off. That way we have a little bit less to do, because that is probably the most time consuming part, is getting all the labels off. But I do have some tricks that I'll show you to do it better. What'd you say?
I asked if the trick was me.
That wasn't the trick. That was just the help. All right, so obviously the most basic way to take stickers off is just to kind of peel them off. That can work for some things. Just depends on mostly the packaging that the stickers are sticking to. But here's the problem. First off, I don't have nails. Come on. Second problem. So to help out with this, we got... Oh, shoot. I realized there were a couple of things in an academy that I wanted to get that I hadn't been able to get over the past couple of days. This was just on the way home from the gym. We're just gonna pop inside real quick, hopefully grab those things that I really wanted to grab and make a little bit extra money. Dang, I thought I was gonna walk out of there triumphantly with like $100 worth of stuff and all that stuff that I wanted to get, but they had none of it. I did find something else that's pretty cool that you're gonna see in a short coming up here soon. But now we gotta get back and actually box all this crap up. It's already almost 4 o'clock. I do not think we'll be getting this done by 7, but I'm gonna try my freaking hardest to do that. All right, let's figure out a better way to get this off. A couple of ideas for you. The first way is what I did for a very long time, which is just Goo Gone and then this little rag right here. But there's a better way that I found. It's a little bit more enjoyable and doesn't leave your fingers bleeding quite as much at the end of the day if you don't have long fingernails. See, my hair is super soaked, but this is not for my hair. This is for our item. I have waited to dry my hair for that stupid joke. Hopefully it was appreciated with a like. Okay, so here's the thing. This Goo Gone is perfect for boxes that are like this. Goo Gone eats away at some of the plastic, and so if you get it, especially on very thin plastic, it'll deform the packaging, and that does not look good, especially when you're trying to sell something as new on Amazon. One of the ways that Goo Gone is really good, just kind of leave it on stuff. That was a lot. And with this much on there, you're actually going to be able to use it on multiple. As you can see, it's dripping down, so I'll take that. Just make sure that it's over the whole thing. You don't have to get a lot, like that should be enough. Just want to make sure that it doesn't damage the packaging. Put it on a couple, and then you start taking it off based on the first one that you put it on. It should come off pretty easily. You can see this has just been on there for a couple seconds. You still have to get it up a little bit, and I really need some nails. Man, these... And honestly, this is a little too much that it's becoming slippery. Wow, I don't know if there could have been a worse example of that. Now you could just kind of run your nail lightly against it. And I think that there are tools that they sell that make this way easier. I just haven't bought them yet. The biggest thing is, no matter how you take it off, it gets all of the residue off of your item. No residue there at all. But it's still not the best. And that's why the hairdryer works way better. I've recently started using it over the past month or so. But as you can see, there's still like an outline there. And so that's where the Goo Gone really comes into work. Throw a little bit on your towel, rub it off. And now it's like there was nothing. You can see that there's a little bit of like the streaky marks from the Goo Gone. That does just dry off. Does get your hands pretty hot though. I probably want to find some gloves. 4:04 now. We have to leave here at 6:30. So you have a call at 5, right? Ooh. So I gotta get done with all the noise by 5. The dimensions did go through, and seller help already reached back out, so I'm gonna be able to list these. So I'm gonna have to go back and do that, so that hopefully we can still get it out by 7, but I'm not really that optimistic. Okay, since Chris is on the call, we're gonna have to do this a little bit quieter. So since everything is now all in, we're gonna go to review batch. I don't really care about the screen, honestly. I kind of just always look over it. We'll go to submit. You gotta make sure that you check this. If you just send product feeds, it's not going to propose any shipments for you, and that's how you actually get your stuff to FBA. Request proposed shipments, hit sync, gonna take a couple seconds, but it's gonna spit back out an option for us to ship stuff into Amazon. Okay, so this is the shipment that it gave us, which is actually really good. The lower shipments, the better, because that means I have to pack less boxes. And so I'm gonna accept these shipments, hit create. If you forgot items, you can just not hit create and hit decline shipments and go back. I can't now because I've already created one, and you can't just create one shipment. You have to create all the proposed shipments. So now the next thing is we go to enter box contents, and this is what we're gonna do in a second. But there's a really important first step, which is to actually print our label. So we're gonna head right over to Seller Central, and in inventory, we're gonna go down to manage FBA shipments, and inventory works with the API of Amazon. So it transmits all of what it is done into Amazon. So we can see here, we already have our 2 shipments working, but now what we're gonna do is go to work on shipment. I actually have to go grab my labels real quick. If you had a label printer, you would have already had everything printed from InventoryLab. So because I don't have a label printer, I have these 30 up labels from Avery. Because there's 273 labels, I'm gonna need 9 of these full sheets plus 3 labels. It would really suck to have to use a full sheet for just 3 labels. So whenever I use sheets, I keep the remaining labels, and you can even move these labels around from one spot to the other. And I like to do 1 shipment at a time. That way it's just easier for me to know that I finished all the items. I don't have to separate the shipments. I could just put it in the box. And so because of that, I actually lied. I'm not going to do this shipment first because it's my bigger shipment, and I like to do my smaller shipments first. That way it's just nice to feel like I've actually completed something. Give them modify units, and this one I am going to use 2 full sheets because it's 54 labels. So I got 2 sheets here. Throw these down here. As you can see, it's only 2 sheets. Print that real quick. My desk is a freaking mess. Now we're just going to find everything and label it up, then do the same thing for the next one. Hopefully we don't have too many of the things that we haven't actually taken stickers off yet, because then we'll have to just use the Goo Gone, and that would be annoying. Here's a couple quick tips while you are labeling stuff. This label right here says South Bend Sporting Goods 1/6 ounce. I don't know what the frick that is. It's this thing, but I'm not 100% sure. It's in the same app that I use. So yeah, it says South Bend Sporting Goods 13. So now I know that that is the correct thing. All right, so now we got all this stuff. It's all been labeled. And so now we just gotta put it in the box and package it up. Honestly, I don't know if this is the right way to do it. This is the way that I do it. I haven't had any problems with it yet. And I've sent in tons and tons of shipments to Amazon. I just put this as tightly as I can jigsaw or Tetris it inside of a box. And on top, I'll put some stuff to kind of pad it. And it's always gotten there and it's been no problem. I can probably fit in one of these boxes. The smallest box that you can get better. The other thing is there are 54 items in this shipment. So as I'm putting items in, I'm counting items to make sure that I'm at 54. And then obviously I don't send either shipment until both of them are complete and accounted for. That way I'm not missing any items. I haven't crossed any of the items between the different shipments, especially if I have more than one. 54. And as you can see, it's kind of hodgepodged in there. Once I put in some bubble wrap and then I make sure that it's pressed down, it should be no problem. Now that we got that all figured out, I have to go back to the printer, print out the second set of labels. We'll label everything else. Well, we got it all printed, but this is definitely gonna be a task for later tonight because I have to label everything and take all this off. Chris had just got off her call, but we have to leave in 15 minutes. Looks like we're gonna be reselling into tomorrow. Yay. Not a lot was done after we left. And by not a lot, I mean nothing. The whole second shipment still to do. Since Chris is not on a call right now, we're gonna start off getting these last couple stickers off. I also have to leave in like 30 minutes to go to counseling, so we'll see if we can actually get this done even today. As you can see, they leave a little bit of a residue on there. See, there's still a little bit down in this bottom line, but that's okay because this is where the UPC code is, so we're gonna have to be putting our label over that anyways. There's gonna be sticky stuff on it again, so you don't really have to worry about it. It'll be time to label everything after we get back from getting some counseling and a COVID test. This is by far the longest it's ever taken me. No, I'm late. That's fun. 12 o'clock appointment. You can swing it. Go to counseling. Last stop before we can get back to work. Awesome. We do not have a lot of time left. It's almost 2 o'clock. All right, finally at 2:30 on Thursday, we got everything delabeled. Now we just gotta label it and pack it up. Then we can talk about how much we actually made. Well, this isn't good. I'm putting all these labels on, and I noticed that I have one more label here. 2, 3 more labels than I have actual items. That leads me to believe that either I put in the wrong amount or I have some of these stashed somewhere else that I don't know of. So what I'm gonna do is just keep these labels on here and hold on to this sheet of paper as I go labeling everything else. And if I find it, I'll obviously just throw them on. If I don't find it, I'll remember to go back into my inventory system and delete those out of the shipment because I probably put the wrong number in initially. And just like that, one item later, we found out the problem. These are for crappie, these are for bass, and they're pretty similar looking, obviously. There's actually 3 too few labels for these guys. So all that's gonna mean is that I'm gonna have to change the quantities in my inventory system and then reprint the labels. But we'll do that at the very end. That way, if there's any other issues, we can do it all at the same time. All right, we did it. Everything has been labeled now, except for 3 things, which we talked about a second ago. Let me show you how to really simply fix that problem. First off, we're gonna need another sheet of labels because we need at least those 3 labels. And so if we take this sheet and we just move some of the labels, first off, I go into InventoryLab. And then in my list and prep, which is where we've been creating this shipment, Control F and find, it said 14. And I should actually have 17. And I gotta change the other one as well. 8. That just changes the shipment. Now we actually have to label it. So if I go back onto Amazon, manage FBA shipments, I can print out another label sheet, or if I just come to my downloads here and go to products, whichever one it is, as long as I find that correct label, which is gonna be these 3 labels right here that I'm gonna need to print, page 2. So I'm gonna print page 2. And now, as you can see, we have our 3 labels. Perfect. So here's a couple really important things to actually package stuff up and ship it into FBA. First thing is, as you can see, all of this stuff right here still has a little bit of prep left to do. It's called polybagging, some of these little plastic bags. Now, these are all required to be polybagged. Most clothing items are required to be polybagged. These are not required to be polybagged. However, because they're so fragile, I like to put polybags around them because it adds some air as protection and cushion around it. And that way, this won't break in transit, which would mean that I would just lose money. And then one more really important thing about the dimensions of the boxes that you send to Amazon. If you don't have oversized items, the max that you can send in is 25 inches on any side and 50 pounds total. So I try to keep everything below 49 pounds-ish. That's the only reason I would have to split this shipment. Luckily, everything that I bought is pretty small and pretty profitable, so I might actually be able to get it all in one box that's under 50 pounds. Let's pack it all up and get it over to Amazon. That box is all set. We're just gonna have to weigh it. It's definitely not 50 pounds. I can lift it. Actually, kind of luckily, I didn't want to use that USPS box that packed everything in yesterday, and I just got a return of just some weights, but they sent me an Amazon box, so I'm just gonna ship it right back to them. And I think everything should fit in there no problem. Just sat back down without weighing or measuring the stuff. Rookie move. A lot of people use shipping scales. I don't. I use this scale, just a normal scale that we keep in our bathroom. The honestly kind of good thing about it is it's a little heavy. So when I've had something that for me says like 49.5 pounds and I'm really worried about that I'm gonna get a warning from Amazon, I take it to UPS and like, it's 48 pounds. So the first one is not heavy enough. So we'll actually have to do that one on the kitchen scale. Second one, 41 pounds. 6 pounds. Now we just gotta do the outside measurements. 23, 17, 14. Back on Inventory Labs, the beautiful thing is everything in both of these shipments all fit in one box. That's the first time that's ever happened for me. Makes life much easier because I don't have to worry about what goes into each box. Normally I'd have to click each of these items, assign them to a box, add new boxes over here. I don't have to do any of that. So all I have to do is go here, assign to a box, box one. Then we go to transmit all boxes to Seller Central. This first shipment is the bigger shipment because it's going to Charlotte. That one is 41 pounds. And it's 23 by 17 by 14. The other one is 6 pounds, and it's 17 by 13 by 6. Oh yeah, baby! 17 by 13 by 6. Submit all. And this does two things. It sends them what information is in which boxes, which is important because as you'll see when we print labels out, we get two labels, one to ship and one for Amazon to worry about. And the second thing it does is send the dimensions, so you don't have to re-input that. Boom. So as you can see down here, success. Your box content information has been accepted in full. Now we're gonna go over to Seller Central. Not having the best day, only $100 so far, and it's 4 o'clock. That's okay. That's why we're sending an inventory. Go to manage shipments, and then you gotta click back on work on shipment. Now when you come down here, it'll say one box, and it'll show the weight and the dimensions. You can calculate. I hate sending in smaller boxes because it's 6 pounds and it's going to charge me almost $6 to send it, which is almost $1 a pound. But what I end up doing is when I'm sourcing, I have my estimated cost, which helps me factor in my buying cost of 50 cents per pound. That bigger shipment, as you'll see, is probably going to be close to 25 or 30 cents per pound, which will average out lower than 50 cents per pound because I send in way more stuff at that cheaper rate. Set the charges. Ship date, we're going to ship it out today. Printer out. One really important thing that I forget to do pretty often, you just come down here to complete shipment. As you can see, you got two labels. One of them is the UPS label, and this label is the Amazon label. And the Amazon label is just what they use at their warehouse to know what's in each of the boxes. Return to shipping queue, and we'll do the second one. Down here, got everything there. So this one is 41 pounds, and as you can see, it's probably gonna be about $13. $11.34. It's only 27 cents to ship. If you have a balance with Amazon already, like you've already been selling, they're gonna pull that straight out of that balance, so you don't have to worry about them charging that card on file. Then I stick my labels on it with this. It's just a spray adhesive. It makes my life easier. I cut these in half. Make sure that neither of the label is in the crease of the box for when they open it. You'll be good to go. Now for the hard part. Driving to UPS. And then we'll come back and I'll explain how much I made from that. And I'll make all the listings on eBay so we can see how much we made overall in the last video that I did reselling where we went out and bought all this crap. Nothing super interesting about shipping. You just drop it off. You can get a receipt if you want or not, and that's that. Thank you. It has been another full day and it is still a mess, but let's go over the overall buy cost, profit, and everything for this. As you can see, I have it all written out in my phenomenal handwriting. I'm just gonna put all this on the screen so you can look at it if you want. Breaking down every single number from all of this would be really boring, so we'll just go over the totals. Our buy cost for Amazon total is $1,395.55. For eBay, it was $659.43. So that means that we spent a total of $2,054.98, which is great because my business goals for this quarter are to start spending $2,000 every 2 weeks rather than $1,500. That way we can make a little bit more money. That'll be able to cover my counseling costs, because that's almost an extra $300 a month that we weren't really anticipating. This is the important part. Our overall profit was $2,063.85 for Amazon, which is super important for me because if you notice in my last video, Amazon is really what I feel like is my business. eBay, I still kind of see as a little bit on the side, mostly because that way I'm able to treat it as an emergency fund, which is something that you not only need in your personal life, but also in your business. So that $2,063.85 worth of profit is over a 100% ROI from the $2054.98 number of what we spent. Having bought that much, in my estimation, is gonna be more than enough in my business to cover my inventory cost, plus what I need to take out of it, which means that just the Amazon profits are gonna cover Amazon and eBay buy costs, plus whatever I need to live on. Perfect, that's exactly how I wanna do it, because then this $680.96 of profit from eBay is just gonna go into an emergency fund that I have for my business. They're gonna be used to buy other big things down the road, like new equipment to make these videos better for you guys, or even just finish paying off inventory as we whittle down on that little bit of debt that we have. The overall profit on my $2,050 of buy cost is $2,744.81 for an ROI of 133.57%. Obviously, all this is potential profit, and I'm sure there's some people going to be saying that in the comments if I fail to say it in this video. And I even got a comment on one of my last videos, which was super well-meaning, of a guy who said, "This is awesome. Your numbers are going to continue to increase as you get better and better in your business." And I think that that can be the case, but it's not necessarily what I want. Do in your business and in your life with your money what you want to do with it. Don't let other people tell you how you should live or how you should run your business. Run your business and your finances in your own life in a way that serves you, your family, and your community, and that's what's important. You don't have to build the biggest numbers or the biggest business. Just do what's gonna bring you value. If you wanna see the video where we bought all this stuff, watch that right here. If you wanna get a little smarter with your money, watch this video to get started investing, and this video for the best way to pay off all of your debt. I appreciate you for watching, friends. Stay smart. I wasn't screen recording anything. I'm so bad at this. That'll do.